Hello, I'm James Izimoha. Welcome to Africa News. Let's see your headlines. Kenya says it's ready to buy electricity from Ethiopia following the completion of a $5 billion dam. Over 70 people have been killed at a funeral ceremony in eastern DRC. Islamist militia takes responsibility. A global Sumut flotilla vessel struck by a drone in Tunisia. Kenya has expressed its intention to buy electricity from Ethiopia and says it is ready to mediate in any disputes between countries that share the Nile River. President William Ruto made the comment at the inauguration of a $5 billion Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Isaac Lukando has our top story.
Kenyan President William Ruto was the chief guest at the inauguration of Africa's largest hydroelectric dam, which has the potential to produce up to 6,000 megawatts of power. In his address, President Ruto described the dam's construction on the Nile River as a milestone achievement for the entire African continent.
We are ready to sign a power purchase agreement so that we can offtake some of the power from this important dam. Reliability is especially critical for special economic zones, industrial parks, ICT hubs, and agro-processing facilities, all of which require consistent and affordable power to drive Kenya's development agenda.
Ethiopia constructed the dam with a capacity of 74 billion cubic meters over a 13-year period amid ongoing tensions with neighboring Egypt. The Kenyan president emphasized that disputes over the use of the Nile's waters cannot be ignored. As such, he said Kenya is willing to serve as a mediator to help find a lasting solution to the disagreements surrounding the use of the Nile waters. Egypt and Sudan, who were not present at the inauguration, have expressed concerns over the dam's impact, arguing that it threatens the flow of the Nile water downstream. Ethiopia, in its defense, argues that it has the right to construct the dam to meet its rising electricity demands, with no lasting agreement yet on how the waters of Africa's longest river should be managed. The future of relations among Nile-dependent countries remains uncertain. Isaac Lukando for A News in Dar es Salaam.
More than 70 people have been killed by militiamen allied to the Islamic State group at a funeral in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The overnight attack happened in the conflict-torn province of North Kivu. Chris Ocharmga has more from Kinshasa.
A group of armed men raided the village of Ntoyo in eastern Congo and started killing people gathered at a funeral with machetes and guns. Congolese authorities say 72 people have died. Several people have been reported missing, which has raised fears that they could have been abducted by the assailants. The DRC army has blamed the attack on the Allied Democratic Forces, an affiliate of the Islamic State group. The militant group has claimed responsibility for the massacre in eastern DRC. They've been accused of carrying out several attacks against civilians in the region over the past decade. The DRC government says the rebels killed more than 40 civilians attending a vigil at a Catholic church in Ituri province in July. The DRC army and troops from Uganda are carrying out a joint operation against them, but the killings have continued. Chris Ochamringa for A News in Kinshasa.
Drone attacks by Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces struck at least 3 sites across the capital Khartoum on Tuesday, triggering a major power outage in the city of Omdurman. Several explosions were heard on Tuesday morning in the city. Naba Mohidin reports from Khartoum.
The Tuesday attacks carried out by RSF in the capital Khartoum included many locations in the capital in Omdurman, Bahri and Khartoum, which make the greater capital of Khartoum state. Many locations were targeted, including in Omdurman a main military camp called Al Markhiyat here, and also Al Markhiyat power plant were targeted by the attack. And in Bahri, northern of Khartoum, the Sudanese main oil refinery was targeted by the recent attack, which led to a partial damage, according to the Sudanese Ministry of Energy. And also in Khartoum, many locations were targeted that led to whether total or partial blackout for more than 40 hours right now. According to the Sudanese Ministry of Energy, some of oil fields, including Higleach oil field, was targeted by RSF also, that killed 5 workers at least. This escalation on the ground, of course, will make the situation even harder for or more difficult for hundreds of thousands of returnees, according to the United Nations. Since July, more than 1.3 million Sudanese people have returned to their home states, which is, of course, a very big number regarding the people who were internally displaced by the Sudanese war since April 2023. More than 10 million people have displaced internally, and 4 million people have crossed the borders. So the recent escalation on the ground and the security situation in Khartoum will, of course, make it very difficult for hundreds of thousands of people to decide to return home, and people who are still here in the capital Khartoum, it will make the situation even harder. The government of Ta'sis, which is RSF government in their areas of control, they adopted this attack, and they said it's a response to the Sudanese military targeting civilian locations in their areas of control. But of course, we are seeing that the recent attacks by RSF is only targeting civilian infrastructure and leading to a suffering of millions of people who are still in the capital Sudan. Naba Muhyiddin for A News, Khartoum, Sudan.
A global Sumud flotilla vessel was struck by a drone in Tunisia's Sidi Bou Said port while preparing to deliver aid to Gaza. The strike marked the second such incident in 2 days. The aid group confirmed damage to the vessel but reported no casualties.
The global Sumud flotilla reported a drone strike on one of its aid ships docked in Tunisia's Sidi Bou Said port. The group says the attack caused fire damage, but no injuries among passengers or crew. The flotilla, backed by delegations from 44 countries, is attempting to break Israel's blockade of Gaza and deliver humanitarian supplies. The alleged strikes raise fresh concerns over the risks faced by civilian-led missions. Flotilla representatives say the incident mirrored an earlier attack in Tunisian waters.
We received the same report of yesterday. A suspicious drone that fired on our ship. We have seen some videos that were shared on social media that explains the same context of yesterday. There is no other government that is interested to stop such a civilian movement except the government of Israel. So this what they happened. It's a violation of Tunisian law, violation of civilians, attack on a ship that carry humanitarian aid with civilians on board.
Hundreds gathered at the port, waving Palestinian flags and chanting against Israel and the United States. The group says investigations are ongoing as the flotilla prepares its next steps toward Gaza.
South Africa is stepping up efforts to ease tensions with the United States. Officials have been dispatched to Washington and New York for negotiations following a 30% tariff on imports imposed by the Trump administration.
Our government is therefore in...
President Cyril Ramaphosa said South African officials are preparing for formal talks with US representatives, lawmakers and business leaders after Washington imposed 30% tariffs on imports last month. The move comes after months of failed attempts to reach a deal, with Ramaphosa emphasizing that South Africa's critical mineral resources are central to discussions aimed at rolling back tariffs.
Our government is therefore in continued engagement with the United States to secure what we would term a mutually beneficial trade and investment deal. The Presidency and the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition have sent representatives who are currently in the United States, who are preparing for the further formal negotiations with the United States government, which should be taking place in just a few days. They are meeting a number of stakeholders as they are in both New York and Washington, including representatives of the administration, legislators, business people, and a whole number of other people. We go to the United States negotiating table with a strong hand. We don't go with a weak hand. And our endowments, as you correctly say, is exactly what we take to the table. And the ability on our part to have those products processed here. But we obviously, in doing so, want to take it a step further. And we want to be able, and that's what we are insisting on, that even as we may well want to export the critical minerals, we want them to leave the shores of South Africa as finished products so that we beneficiate what we will finally sell to them. So that
South Africa's trade push comes at a moment of strained ties between the two nations, with disputes over tariffs, race policies, and diplomatic rhetoric fueling tensions. Upcoming negotiations will test whether common ground can be found.
Still in South Africa, a fitness coach has deliberately gained 25 kilograms in 4 months. He says the unusual experiment is meant to better understand his client's struggles with obesity and weight loss. However, critics say you don't have to make yourself sick to connect with your clients.
Kapano Mokele, a trainer and content creator, set out to gain 30 kilograms in 120 days, documenting his rapid weight gain on social media. Fast food meals, alcohol, and daily struggles with breathing. The purpose? To experience firsthand the barriers his clients face when trying to lose weight, he says.
My name is Kapano Mokele. I'm the founder of this Dudla Squatter journey. We are actively gaining. The goal was to gain 30 kgs in 4 months, but I kind of missed that goal, but I did gain 25 kgs in 4 months. And the entire journey was just to document, firstly, how does it feel like to be overweight? As a coach, as a trainer, I've never been really obese, let's just say that. And I was just trying to figure out how does it feel like and what are the challenges that my clients go through when they're actively trying to lose weight.
However, health professionals say the experiment is dangerous and undermines medical advice on managing obesity.
This is actually just going against what medicine is. And I don't think that any responsible, whether you're a fitness trainer, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a dietitian, I don't think that is the right approach to actually have to relate to your patients. You don't have to make yourself sick, because why add to the statistic? We're already in trouble. And the message for me is not, I don't get it.
The goal is very simple, guys.
South Africa has the continent's highest rate of adult obesity, according to the World Health Organization. While Mokel hopes to build empathy, doctors caution that the approach may ultimately add to the country's growing health burden.
Well, that's all we have today on Africa News. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to A News.